A demo of my instruction template method for synthesizing complete code files in ChatGPT. Templates that mix literal code with inline placeholder instructions give better control over generations than using English prose. And this outputs code, and it looks pretty good. Like, it's not laughable, it's not horrible. Like, we just did this at the beginning of the stream. I just said, write Python code that takes an image file and mints an NFT. Python code goes here, and then it wrote a bunch of Python, right? This is sort of like the Stable Diffusion fill version of using ChatGPT. You're really like leading it along. Like, here are the things that I want to see, right? And it fills it in. Now, the issue with this, in my opinion, is you still need to know all of this code for this to work. We've tried to have ChatGPT generate us usable, workable code, and it fails more often than it succeeds. We've tried to iterate over it, and it also fails more often than it succeeds. Using this method probably gets you closer to success, but this, in my opinion, is not too much different than this. Like, not only do you need to know what the code's supposed to do to some extent, but you're kind of typing out random shit that's not even pseudocode. Model equals text DaVinci 3, top P, 0.7, max tokens, 512. Like, that is the defaults here. But that's also the actual defaults for using the OpenAI GPT API. You need the engine, you need max tokens. The prompt is the text that you're inserting. It actually isn't that far off from just actually coding. The best way I've heard ChatGPT in terms of what it is, what it can do for you right now, if you treat ChatGPT sort of as like a naive idiot of some sort, relatively unformulated word salad idiot type person, you have infinite idiots available to you. Is it possible to leverage infinite idiots for production level work that will give you broken code more often than not broken code? But if you want anything out of the code that it generates, you need to really hold its hand. You really need to basically just code review GPT. How many more projects do you think you could finish? In my opinion, 0 more. It wouldn't really be a replacement of QA for your own code, right? Because, like I mentioned, if you need to hold GPT's hand in order to create anything resembling working code, then there's no possible way that your actual working code could be evaluated by GPT in any like trustworthy or sensible manner, right? And we've done that on this stream as well. We've had GPT review our code, and it has given us evaluations, right? Like, this code is well structured, easy to read, indents are proper, all this stuff. But there's like all sorts of things in this where you should probably leave comments, like hard-coded values. If you are including things in lists like this, why isn't this in some sort of function? Are these things parameters that we should be sending through some sort of dictionary as opposed to just hard-coding them? Or should they actually be keyword arguments in the function, right? This evaluation isn't really evaluating the code for anything other than like, does it look like code? Maybe something we try is like, can we get GPT to submit a Kaggle competition and all I do is type comments? Like, how long do you think it would take for GPT to submit a housing prices notebook? That would get a lot of views on YouTube. Maybe we try it. The overhype of large learning models at this point, it is actually somewhat painful to hear, because the large language models that exist are f***ing phenomenal. The most advanced natural language research that has ever been performed, and yet we are conflating large language models, what GPT, what all these different, large language model, natural language processing models can do. We conflate that with like replaceability as humans, simply because it can say things similar to what humans say. We're skipping steps like, can it write its own code? And we try to get it to, and it can't, right? Or if it does, it's really weak at it. We're not even at the point where it can evaluate itself, right? Like your simple Turing problems, it fails on. If you have infinite idiots, what can you do with infinite idiots? You can only do as much as you can do, right? That is my hypothesis. And that's kind of like the state of GPT right now. No better how do you say this word, chat? Get me some TTS for this.
Shibboleth.
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 Thank you, Donald Trump.
Shibboleth these nuts.
Got him!
Don't clip that.